We're so back. BTC is over 80k and crypto is flying. Election special, deconstructing what went down and what comes next. Cardano, Internet Computer and Bitcoin Layer 2s. It's all kicking off in the altcoin space. And a look at last week's top performing cryptos. Buckle up, dates for your diary, token unlocks, tweets of the week, your feedback and good vibes all round. This is the Coin Bureau News, live. Going higher.
Dear my Coin Bureau familia, and welcome to another episode of the Coin Bureau Weekly News live stream. Today, of course, is an amazing day because Bitcoin just broke through 82k. We're feeling particularly bullish, aren't we, Guy?
Nick, I am feeling bullish AG.
Better than BAG.
That's one up. That's one up
from AF.
Might as well start the stream with a dad joke, mightn't we? Start as we mean to go on.
Yeah, man. Monday breaking Monday with an all-time high again from an all-time high yesterday. It's feeling good, right?
Man, I cannot tell you what an incredible week it has been. What a ride. And it really feels like we're kind of just getting started.
Only just
getting warmed up.
This is just the small green shoots, speaking for a garden, the small green shoots.
Exactly.
Of a luscious green bull market.
Exactly. The first seedlings starting to poke through. It is wonderful. It is great to have you all here. Thank you for joining us, everyone, for another edition of the Coin Bureau live news show. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. You know what we're going to cover, but there is a lot to get through. But yeah, what a time to be doing it. So before we go on, if you haven't subscribed already, please do that. It really helps us. Hit the subscribe button, atomize the like button.
And of course, the bell as well.
There's
there we go.
Hit that bell. Ding that bell.
Ring that butler. Ring that Coin Bureau butler to come bring you those videos every single day. The British Coin Bureau butler.
Exactly. Nice, well-spoken British butler. What more could you ask for? Okay, let's get on with it. Let's start. Now, we're going to talk about the election, obviously, and all the stuff around that. But we're going to start with just some information, just some metrics around why BTC is at 82k. Obviously, the Trump pump is a big part of that. But let's dig into it a little bit. Nick has got some facts and stats for us.
Facts and stats. So first fact for you is yesterday was actually the first time Bitcoin actually broke through its previous all-time high. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. All-time high maybe was last week. No. Because an inflation-adjusted Bitcoin price. So the 69k from the previous 2021 high, there's a bit of inflation between then and now. And so the official inflation adjusted Bitcoin all-time high from the 2021 high was 78k. We shot through that yesterday. So yeah, we are above our inflation adjusted 2021 high. So
all those Bitcoin critics, yet another one of their
L for
jabs
them.
has just gone.
Another L for them, yeah, exactly.
Poor old Peter Schiff.
They sat exactly, and sat with their money market funds, just watching their wasting away at inflation rate. But yeah, so there's many other factors at play here. So firstly, let's take a look at last week when it came to the ETF flows. Monster week. In a day or two after the Trump election, we had record inflows, daily inflows. One day, I think we hit 1.3 billion in total there.
Wow.
What IBIT itself, BlackRock's fund, had 1.1 billion, one day of 1.1 billion in inflows. Crazy. And another fun fact, it actually flipped its gold ETF.
Wow. That is and it's less than a year.
Less than a year.
It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been one of the fastest growing ETFs ever, even more so than the equity ETFs that JP Morgan and them have launched. It's been an amazing success story in the ETF landscape. So that was just the one data point to look at. We also hit an all-time high in CME futures trading volume. So this is Vetle Lunda. He is a senior analyst at K33 Research. He shared this chart last week, 13.15 billion, a record daily trading volume on CME's Bitcoin futures. Obviously, CME is preferable for institutional investors. So these institutions taking out massive amounts of trading volume in the CME futures. We also had on Friday, which is pretty interesting, specifically from a directional slant in terms of the CME futures, is we had a 10% premium on the CME basis over spot, right? And that's this will, of course, encourage basis traders to come back into the market and engage in that trade. We also saw massive, there's another chart we've got on the chart here. This is for the offshore perps and trading volume. It also spiked a lot. So it's not just onshore CME institutional investors. exchange traffic started picking up as well. So this is the total, all the different exchanges last week in terms of the trading, the traffic to their sites.
Yeah.
Those
guys waking up,
and that's retail. I think that's retail excited. Obviously, pumped out fund 100%. Degens diving in.
Those degenerates, I tell you.
They're literally like the week before. It's like, oh, what's going on? Then the election started. Probably is all the Polyfi meme coins maybe been launching on around that.
I would think so. I would think so.
We also had exchange balances are falling quickly. So this just happened in the past 2 days or 3 days. We've got here, you can see that now this is a 4-year low in exchange balances.
Okay.
Right? And you can see that massive drop down, the spike down corresponds exactly with the price increase there in Bitcoin. Of course, that leads to a potential supply shock, right? Less spot supply. Where are these exchange market makers going to get their Bitcoin? That's going to obviously lead to price pressure, right? If you have a supply shock. And according to the legendary, or infamous or legendary, which way you want to look at it, Plan B, who's got the stock to flow model, he's updated his model with regards to price, and this is in the 2021 cycle, and he obviously, this, if you guys don't know the stock to flow model, it's one of Bitcoin's more like transformative models, in the sense we had in the 2019 cycle, it predicted 100k Bitcoin, and that in the 2021 cycle, but it missed that, unfortunately. It was just because adhesive was down to tracking error. But he's updated his model, and according to the stock to flow model, if you believe in terms of the supply shock coming from this year's halving, next year we could potentially see between 250k to 1 million, right? So, I mean, to be fair to him, he says, of course, there's tracking error. He's just presenting the model data, and it is an interesting analysis, and he has got a video on it, and you can go and take a look at his YouTube channel. But even if it's on the lower end of that,
hey, hands up, who wouldn't like a 250k Bitcoin?
I mean to be honest, and I wouldn't. And to be honest, I think it's totally possible, given what's going to be happening over the next few months, right? Don't underestimate how quickly Bitcoin can fly, especially when retail starts waking up. And the reason I say retail isn't woken up yet, because, well, despite all of this, take a look at the funding rates on the perps market. See there now. So that's the combined funding rate for most of the top altcoins, and Bitcoin, of course. Of course, it's a heat map, right? So the redder or the warmer the color, the higher the funding rates, the more positive it is. And you'll see back in March, we had this massive, it was quite warm in that area. So you got red and oranges. That's basically when funding rates were very hot, right? Running at plus 100% APY, right? That was basically when there's high funding rates, people are more bullish, longer, the perps are higher above the spot.
That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, March, obviously, you cast your mind back, and it was a kind of crazy time. But like there was, and that was obviously, mostly to do with the ETFs. But like when you consider now just how fundamental the shift has been over the last week, I mean that surely is they're going to start.
We broke the 80k. Yeah, well, we broke the 80k, and it's as cool as a cucumber, right? Which means that people aren't, they still haven't positioned long yet. At least in terms of the bullish sentiment still isn't there. Retail still has an ape 10. We also, another chart we've got you from the on-chain perspective. Although we broke through the all-time high, generally people take profit during all-time highs. That leads to supply, oncoming supply coming into the markets. People take profit, but the realized profits here is, although it's picking up, it's still lower than we were back in March as well, and in the previous 2021 cycle. So while holders who have had in profit were taking profit, realizing their profit is still nowhere near where it was in the past. Again, doesn't look like massive amounts of supply is coming on the market just yet to dampen the price increase.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have Google search trends. Although they've picked up a little bit over the past week, they're still way down from March levels and, of course, 2021 levels. And that's a very big indicator of retail interest. It's just crazy because we've seen these price actions. We've seen what's going on with crypto, with Bitcoin, and not just Bitcoin, altcoins as well. The Bitcoin dominance has been falling. Altcoins have been rallying like mad. We'll get to the top gainers later. But yet, retail still,
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. So let's move on then and talk about the election, because obviously this is, in case you've been living under a rock, this is the big catalyst. This is why everything is going absolutely bananas. The fundamental shift that has happened underneath the crypto industry's feet, as it were, because suddenly the US has gone from being virulently anti-crypto, the US administration, to one that is, that has gone out of its way to show how pro-crypto it is. And, so there's so much to talk about around this election. So what we're going to do is kind of focus on a few of those promises that Donald Trump made at that famous speech at Bitcoin Nashville just a few months ago. It feels like a long time ago, given everything that's happened. But
feels like ages ago.
Yes, not actually. It's fairly recent history. So we'll look at a few of those promises that Donald Trump made, and obviously look at what they will mean if he makes good on them. But before we do that, I just, Nick, with an incredible stat, an incredible fact, I should say. Google search trends suggest that a fairly high number of Americans weren't even aware that Joe Biden had dropped out. Can you?
Well, to be fair, I don't think Joe Biden knows he dropped out.
Ow.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's like,
that's
he
wild,
just woke
isn't
up.
it?
It's like, what? I dropped out? We lost the election? Oh, sorry.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, did you see that press conference that he did afterwards? I mean, it was the most alert and happy he appeared for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. He did one in the White House Rose Garden, and he was totally with it. Anyhow, now what that headline tells me, folks, is that this is to do with people not knowing that Biden had dropped out. But kind of, if you extrapolate that wider, what it shows is that a heck of a lot of people aren't paying attention. They aren't up to speed. And like, I'll give you an anecdotal example of this. When I went back to the UK for a long weekend back in May, I hung out with some friends who, like, a few of them had been into crypto in the last cycle, and they were like, how's it going? Obviously, they hadn't really been following what was going on. They said, how's it going? What's new? And I said, well, it's had a big boost recently because of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And they looked at me and were like, what's a spot Bitcoin ETF?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man.
Yeah. They're not paying attention. Exactly.
Yeah, people aren't paying attention. We are still early to this, folks.
And also to the extent of how much of a transformative election this was for the crypto industry, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they were probably focused on other policies. It may have been, you heard about it in a few news articles. Oh, Trump said this about Bitcoin and whatnot. But they don't understand how, which we'll get onto in terms of like how transformative this was in terms of the entire electoral map and how pro-crypto regulations could now be coming. Flying through Congress.
Absolutely. And it's important to note, obviously, Trump is the president. The Republicans have control of the Senate, and we'll talk about the significance of that in a moment. I think they're still sort of waiting on control of the House, but it certainly looks like they're going to have control of the House of Representatives too. So all three branches of the executive are going to be under Republican control. And it was a terrible, terrible night for the anti-crypto army. But we'll get to that. So one of the big promises in Donald Trump's speech was kind of two-pronged, if you like. He promised to fire Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, on his first day in office, and he promised to bring an end to Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden's what he called anti-crypto crusade. So let's look at this business of Gary Gensler first. I think the first thing to note here is that technically Trump can't fire Gary, but he can demote him back down to plain old commissioner.
Yeah, although to be fair, and he can elect someone else. But to be fair, I think Gary's probably going to walk before he's pushed. Yeah,
I don't see what reason Gary Gensler has to stay on. Surely he can get a ridiculously well-paid job on Wall Street.
Yeah, although they were saying that he was. I was listening on the podcast, Castle Island podcast, and they were saying that he was spotted in Boston. Okay, which means probably he could be looking for a teaching gig at MIT, maybe something on blockchain technology. Oh, no. Maybe he wants his old gig back.
He's going to go full circle.
He's going to go in the crypto regulation 101.
Yeah. Here's how here's how to alienate an entire industry
and lose your party.
Yeah, and help lose your party the election. Yeah. So obviously it looks like Gary Gensler is on his way out the door one way or another, and I think I can speak for virtually everyone in the crypto industry when I say good riddance. So the question naturally turns to who is going to replace him, and there are a number of names in the frame. So we're just going to run through a few of those, because this is going to be one of the most important appointments that Donald Trump makes, certainly in relation to the crypto industry and sort of generally as well. The head of the SEC is a very big role.
Yeah.
So let's start by looking at, there are two other commissioners. So you might recall that back when those spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved at the start of the year, that vote was voted through 3-2. So Gary Gensler sort of, we assume, kind of reluctantly voted in favor. 2 other commissioners voted against, but 2 commissioners helped get it over the line, and they were Hester Peirce and Mark Uyeda. So tell us a bit about Hester Peirce, Nic.
So she's the current SEC commissioner. She's a Republican. Her name is Crypto Mom. It's a moniker. Crypto Mom.
Okay.
Mom. So the motherly figure in the SEC there, looking after the crypto interests. So she's always been railing against the SEC's anti-crypto policies. She's always been a voice of reason within the SEC when it comes to crypto. So she's obviously naturally a shoe-in from that perspective. Brian, Armstrong is also supportive. However, unfortunately, it seems that she doesn't want the job.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay, so Hester Peirce, I think, as Brian Armstrong said in that tweet, he's certainly backing Hester Peirce. But if she doesn't want the job, then she doesn't want the job.
Why do you think she doesn't want the job?
She's probably seen. I mean, obviously it would be easier. You'd get a much easier ride from the crypto industry if you weren't sort of virulently anti-crypto like Gary Gensler still is. But I guess I can understand why she might not want that position. So the other commissioner who is crypto friendly and a Republican is Mark Uyeda. He has also called Gary Gensler's policies, quote, a disaster for the whole industry.
And he's railed against it as well. He was also one of the voters that basically also approved the SEC.
So Hester Peirce, Mark Uyeda, and Gary Gensler were the ones who voted through those spot Bitcoin ETFs earlier this year. So those are the kind of insiders who might be promoted. However, from what I'm hearing, it looks like Trump may well decide to go with an outsider, someone who's not already an SEC commissioner. And it seems like the main name in the frame, or certainly the one that I've been hearing the most, is Dan Gallagher. So he is the chief legal officer over at Robinhood. He's a former SEC commissioner, as it happens. And so, there seems to be a lot of momentum around him. I think his name was mentioned quite a few weeks ago, long before the election. I think his name was sort of chucked into the ring for a while. So he's definitely one to watch. But Robinhood is kind of under investigation by the SEC at the moment, so there could perhaps be questions about a conflict of interest there. So that's worth bearing in mind.
Another one is Richard Farley. So this broke last week, and apparently from a leak. And now he wasn't really that well known. He wasn't really a pick in terms of speculated, but he's a Wall Street lawyer, he was mentioned. I think it was either the Wall Street Journal or the New York Post broke it, and he could potentially be one of the picks. Although it's not really that well known what his crypto, if he has a crypto stance, there was a quote of one particular judgment or opinion he gave in a particular crypto case, but that's nowhere near as much of information to make an informed decision in terms of whether he's pro or anti crypto.
Okay.
But then another one potentially we could have to meet the crypto mom. You've got a crypto dad. Okay. The crypto family come together at the SEC. His name is Chris Giancarlo. He used to be the CFTC chair from 2017 to 2019. He was under his watch. Bitcoin futures on the CME were approved.
Okay.
He wears the badge Crypto Dad proudly. He's even got it on his website.
That is, when you go on Chris Giancarlo's website, that is pretty much other than that tastefully done headshot. He's dubbed Crypto Dad. That's literally the first line of his biography. I mean,
I bet he uses that as a conversation starter. He goes and uses a conversation starter. I am the Crypto Dad. Hello, welcome.
I'm sure it works wonders. He was generally seen as supportive of the crypto industry when he was at the CFTC. I think his approach was a sort of do no harm approach, which would certainly make a nice change. So, could him and Hester Peirce team up, Crypto Mum and Crypto Dad? Run it together like a big happy family.
The power couple over there at the SEC.
Yeah. And there's one other name in the frame, Brian Brooks. He is a former chief legal officer at Coinbase. He was also at Binance US for all of 4 months before leaving there. He's worked at the Treasury. He served as acting head of the comptroller of currency. Again, given the fact that both Coinbase and Binance have beefs going with the SEC, there might be a question of conflict of interest.
Well, to be fair, he is former. I don't know what the rules are around, how long ago you can take up a post and take it.
So those are some of the names that are in the frame for next up at the SEC. However, Trump is famously unpredictable. So, none of those names may end up in the frame. My money is personally on either Baron Trump,
yeah.
or Ryan Selkis.
I think.
Okay.
About that, Baron. Yeah.
Now, before we go on, I just want to flag something here. Now, this is this week's. Just stop what you're doing.
I did not know what this is.
This was last week's list of shame. So we dug into the stats from the viewing figures for last week's live stream, and we found that there were that the countries with the lowest number of registered viewers were Gambia, Northern Ireland, and Lesotho. This is just disgraceful. Gambia, Northern Ireland, and Lesotho. It will not do. It will not do. 10 viewers apiece. Can you believe that?
10 viewers where? Oh, for all three?
Well, all three had only 10
So which
viewers.
are the lowest of those three?
No, they're all on 10. They're
all
joint
on 10.
tied. They're joint tied for that disgraceful.
The Northern Irish, I'm surprised.
They would expect better than Northern Ireland. They really would. It's disgraceful. It would do. So encourage your countrymen. Otherwise your country may be on the list of shame next week. God. Honestly, Gambia. I would have expected better from Gambia.
Gambia would have,
well.
yeah. I mean,
Not good enough. Not good.
You guys, come on. You got to represent. We need to get.
All right. Let's get back on track. So the other thing, that's head of the SEC.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's kind of up in the air. It's not just about the SEC though. It's all this idea of ending the anti-crypto crusade, Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
needs to come to an end.
There is, and that was one of the biggest people behind that. Of course, was the guy from Sherrod Brown from Ohio, right?
Sherrod Brown.
Because obviously the OCC was also involved in Operation Choke Point and parties within the Fed as well. But one of the biggest forces in the anti-crypto army was Sherrod Brown. He was aligned with Elizabeth Warren, and he was the head of the Senate Banking Committee, right? Yep. And obviously, anything that wants to go through the Senate on crypto, if you were just virulently anti-crypto, it's not going to go there, right? And he was targeted aggressively in the Ohio race by all the crypto lobbyists, specifically Fairshake, right?
Yeah.
And they potentially could have flipped this because apparently it wasn't very tight a few months ago, and it became very tight. And he's now out. And because also the fact that the Republicans won the Senate, it means they're going to now have a Republican chair of the Senate Banking Committee.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Tim Scott, apparently.
Tim Scott, who is pro-crypto.
Pro-crypto, yeah.
He's one of us.
So, yeah, it seems like Elizabeth Warren is a general without an anti-crypto army, a general without an army. So she's going to be very lonely there in the Senate. She can't hold sway. And it's quite I mean, she managed to get reelected.
Yeah.
That's then all of her compatriots basically got dunked on.
I think really the only way that this election could have turned out better for crypto would have been for Elizabeth Warren to lose her seat. But I think maybe
John Deaton tried. They tried. He tried. He gave a good compelling. I don't know why.
He did a good job. But from what I understand, Elizabeth Warren's Massachusetts Senate seat is pretty safe. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown, the rest of the anti-crypto army, they effed around and they found out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy to see how much of an impact the crypto lobby group could have had, right?
Yeah.
And in these Senate races and in these electoral college as well, some of these states, how much of it could have come out to that was crypto voters basically that flipped things, right?
Yeah.
And especially in the because of the lobby groups in these Senate races, and that was probably the biggest one. He was probably the most anti-crypto.
Absolutely. So the anti-crypto army very much their ranks are very much depleted. Now, before we move on, I just need to remind you fine people to smash the likes, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and now. You may already be subscribed to Coin Bureau and our second channel, More Coin Bureau, but are you subscribed to Coin Bureau Trading? Are you, in fact, one of the 31,900 people subscribed to Coin Bureau Trading? And if you scan that QR code, which I believe is up there.
Yeah, right
there,
here,
just
guys.
above Nick. Yeah. That will take you to Coin Bureau Trading, and you can subscribe there. We have got a absolutely stellar lineup of presenters over on the channel. We've got Aaron, We've got Mariana
and Dan, of course.
And Dan, our head of research, the man who speaks faster than you can think. It's a fantastic resource and it's growing really well. So please do.
And Mariana and Aaron's recent videos are great as well, breaking down exactly what you need to be knowing right now, and different approach to trading as well, and their different breakdowns. So definitely, guys, go subscribe.
It's great to see those guys doing so well, getting so much traction. So join the club. All right. Now, before we move on, I know I can see those comments. I know people want us to talk about Cardano and ICP. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Just chill your boots. We've got a few more just election-themed things to talk about before we move on. So there was other talk around a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This idea that the US government might start actively accumulating BTC as a means of backing the dollar. Now, Cynthia Lummis, who definitely needs a mention here, one of crypto's great champions on Capitol Hill, she has already proposed the Bitcoin Act. Now, I didn't know this. I love the fact that US regulators managed to create these acronyms to describe their act. So the Bitcoin Act is the Boosting Innovation, Technology and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nationwide. I presume they must have used
that. Probably did, yeah. It was like, can you summarize it? Yeah, can you use some tech?
So this is Cynthia Lummis's baby. It would establish a network of secure Bitcoin vaults operated by the US Treasury. The plan would be to purchase 1 million BTC over a 5-year period.
200,000 Bitcoin a year, man. Wow. Can you imagine that it's going to do?
It was also affirming self-custody rights of private Bitcoin holders. Trump mentioned something about that in his speech as well, about people being able to hold on to their Bitcoin. And Lummis has called this, quote, our Louisiana Purchase moment.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar, the Louisiana Purchase, when the sort of young United States was able to basically buy what is now half the country from France for virtually nothing.
Yeah, another French shell.
Yeah, a great example of American deal making.
And Alaska from the Russians.
Oh yeah, they bought Alaska from the Russians.
1901, something with all that oil.
Yeah. Don't.
Why would the Russians want just a frozen landscape? Just, you guys don't want this frozen landscape with nothing on it.
We'll take it out of your hands. Yeah. Okay, so this Bitcoin Act that Cynthia Lummis is proposing, it does appear to have at least some bipartisan support. Ro Khanna, the Democrat, he supports it. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a chance that this could get over the line. It seems like it's Cointelegraph, at least, I think, seem to believe it's probably still a bit of a long shot.
Yeah.
I think getting the necessary bipartisan support. Remember, there are a lot of crypto-friendly politicians on Capitol Hill now, but I think there are probably still a lot of very conservative voices there who are kind of yet to swallow the orange pill.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that the gold reserve, the reserves do serve a purpose in terms of liquidity and backstops and all that. And I guess if you diversify into Bitcoin, look, it's still going to have the gold reserve. It's just diversification, but it does serve a purpose, and it's important for that purpose. It serves in terms of liquidity itself. How easily would you be able to utilize Bitcoin, get the liquidity required in the US dollar side compared to the gold they've got. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that will, and it also creates a minimum holding period that requires any Bitcoin. So you need to hold the reserve will have to hold Bitcoin and can't sell it for a certain period of time. Okay. So yeah, they're forcing the government to diamond hand, the Treasury's diamond hand in law.
I mean, that would be so outrageously bullish. I guess maybe we just need to chill on that for a little bit, so one step at a time. But obviously, if this is something that the Trump administration pursues, and obviously, the Republican-controlled Senate and it looks like House, then this could be huge for the future of Bitcoin, and obviously good for the rest of crypto as well. So the final point from Donald Trump's, the final one of Donald Trump's crypto promises that I just want to pick up on before we start talking about altcoins is Free Ross.
Free Ross, yeah.
Free Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah.
He promised to do this on the very first day of his presidency.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's face it, this is probably of all those things that he's promised to do, this is the easiest.
Can you imagine the emotional roller coaster Ross must have been on? Because apparently when he was leaving, Trump was leaving in 2020, Ross was potentially considered as one of the people he would have in his final acts, but he chose some other people, other business, white-collar criminals, things like that. But Ross was potentially on their final list, and he didn't see it happen. And then for the 4 years, you've got the he must have, what you're going to think,
He's
right?
like, I'm not getting out under this
I'm not
guy,
getting
yeah.
out under this guy, not for a long time, because it was Schumer and the other Democrats are the kind of people who pushed to get Ross behind bars, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the emotional roller coaster. You would have seen Trump say this now at the Libertarian conference, and now it's actually happened. And for us, basically, okay, it's crypto, whatever, it's our bags and everything. But for him, it's his freedom.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the feeling?
Wow. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. So obviously Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road founder, as you guys will know, he was sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 40 years. I mean, it's just...
And SBF only got 25 years.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Scammer.
SBF defrauds people of billions, gets 25 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So this would be a really easy thing for Donald Trump to do, and we need to hold him to it. I mean, who knows? Could Ross Ulbricht be freed and become head of the SEC? No one apart from me would have seen that coming. That would be quite something. But now, on a serious note, I think this is a really important point, though, because, as I said, this is, I assume, a very easy thing for Trump to do.
Yeah.
Now, if he does this as promised, if on the first day of his administration he frees Ross Ulbricht, I think that could be incredibly bullish, because not just kind of from a vibes perspective, but also I think it would demonstrate very clearly that Trump meant what he said in relation to crypto.
This is true, but I can't see any reason, rhyme or reason why he wouldn't. Because he got nothing to lose from it.
Well, very true.
If he got everything to lose, to not keep it in a very explicit promise. It's very explicit. I'm going to free him on day one.
Very true. Unless I guess the only thing maybe could be like if the Justice Department have big objections, I don't know. I'm sure Ross Ulbricht kind of feels the same way in that, he won't believe it until it's actually happened. Yeah. And I think, but if he follows through on this, which I expect him to, then I think that will be really bullish, because it will show that he means what he says and that he's going to follow through on his promises to the crypto industry. And as well as being just generally great news, I think that would be a really bullish sign. Basically, I'd definitely be wearing the green T-shirt again. Put it like that.
There we go.
So, those promise and look, the future is looking bullish for so much else in the crypto ecosystem as well, right?
And that brings us, of course, into our next topic, which is some of the altcoins that were flying. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about Cardano specifically, because it's been flying particularly over the past 24 hours for a very specific reason, and we'll get to that. But there was actually some more important Cardano-related news that happened at least 2 weeks ago. That has been covered, but I think it's important from the perspective of what it means more generally for the ecosystem, not just for Cardano, but also for Bitcoin. Now, this was the news that BitcoinOS, or BitOS, which is a Bitcoin operating system, which is basically building this smart contract operating system for Bitcoin, they basically integrated within the Cardano ecosystem. Now, this is quite bullish, because what it's basically going to allow is for a bridge of liquidity from the Bitcoin ecosystem to Cardano. Okay. And also for Cardano dApps and everything to leverage, Bitcoin security to a certain degree. Now, what BitOS does is like I say, it uses this, it's zero knowledge proofs. Basically, it's a virtual machine for succinct zero-knowledge proofs that can be posted and verified on the Bitcoin main chain. Okay. Now, this is a project which has been building for quite some time. I've actually spoken to the team, and we're going to be investing in them. And they basically, and BitcoinOS basically was this holy grail of trying to verify a zero-knowledge proof on the Bitcoin main chain, which has eluded many Bitcoin researchers for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And it's fully permissionless, in a fully permissionless manner. And also they've got this Grail bridge, right? We can bridge the liquidity between these chains in a permissionless manner, not relying on any sort of MPC technology and everything. So it's really an interesting integration, because like I say, Bitcoin's liquidity, you've got $1.5 trillion worth of liquidity. There's $1.5 trillion asset class which can now be utilized in the Cardano ecosystem, Cardano dApps and all of that. And obviously that's bullish for the Cardano ecosystem, as well as more generally for Bitcoin holders who want to use their Bitcoin for other things in other ecosystems. So that's on the Cardano side. Then on the ICP side, the ICP is also, with regards to this Bitcoin layer 2 bridge, it's got a cross-chain protocol called Chain Fusion. And this is enabling Bitcoin to interact with DeFi in the ICP ecosystem. dApps such as Rainbow Protocol, Tap Protocol, and Bitfinity have utilized Chain Fusion. So we've got a chart over here you can see the Chain Fusion subnet average messages of day per month. So it's been increasing steadily over the past few months.
Up and to the right.
Up and to the right, yeah. So that means more and more people in the Bitcoin ecosystem through these dApps can now access and get involved within ICP's DeFi protocols. And this is all because possible because of the 2021 Taproot upgrade to the Bitcoin's to the Bitcoin network. And I think this is more the entire. I think what I'm really bullish on is the Bitcoin L2 space. Despite the fact that it's got a lot of attention this year, I still think people are sleeping on this narrative in terms of what it could do for the for the Bitcoin ecosystem and for the entire crypto ecosystem. Because we have, like I say, a $1.5 trillion asset that has just been counting as the price goes up. That's just been hodled, right, as a digital gold. That's a store of value, but it can be utilized for other things. So one of them is, of course, stake in it, right, and you can earn a yield in it. And this is what comes to another protocol which has been doing very well this year, is Babylon.
Yeah.
So I was on a panel with the CTO about 2 weeks ago at Cosmoverse, and Babylon is a Bitcoin staking protocol, but a fully permissionless staking protocol that you can deposit your Bitcoin and you can withdraw it, and there's no need for any party to control your Bitcoin in any way. And you can basically secure proof of stake chains utilize the Bitcoin. You can secure proof of stake chains. So this is beneficial because basically it means any sort of proof of stake chain can leverage Bitcoin security. Now, Bitcoin is definitely the most secure asset class in the world, right, in terms of all the mining power secure in it. And you, as a proof of stake chain, without building out your entire validator set in a decentralized way, you can leverage Bitcoin's security, and you can then your staking rewards can be accrued towards Bitcoin holders. And it's fully permissionless, and it uses this timestamping protocol, which is quite revolutionary, and the way the slashing works using the double spend method. So anyways, TLDR, the Bitcoin ecosystem, the Bitcoin L2 ecosystem, I'm incredibly bullish on it. Okay. Also, we've got an interview coming out with Alexei from Build on Bitcoin. Bob, it's another project we've invested in. And it's all these projects that are integrating within the Bitcoin ecosystem in terms of DeFi projects like Cardano, ICP. They'll be able to benefit from this liquidity that wants to come from the Bitcoin ecosystem into others.
Yeah.
So that's the news that I think people should be focusing on, what it means for those ecosystems and Bitcoin more generally.
Okay, so keep an eye. Nic you heard it from Nic. Okay, you keep an eye on that Bitcoin layer 2 on Bitcoin DeFi. Yeah, and it's interesting because I remember one of the things that we flagged up about Cardano a couple of times in the past is that it kind of had this there was this kind of dual aspect to it, wasn't it? Yeah. Because it was quite a sort of it didn't really integrate with other chains, with other crypto ecosystems, which on the one hand was really good because it insulated it from things like the Terra collapse. So that was obviously a big point a big plus for Cardano's security. On the other hand, it kind of restricted interaction. It restricted liquidity in the Cardano ecosystem. Yeah. So is this why this is so bullish? Because so much liquidity is now potentially going to flow into Cardano.
Could be unlocked, yeah, exactly. Okay. And that's what obviously it's like. They've announced the integration, right? But BitOS still has to go through live tests, and they did their first verified proof back in Bitcoin Nashville, and it is the holy grail of Bitcoin layer 2s to be able to settle ZK proofs on chain, right? But there's lots of Bitcoin layer 2s building, but they haven't actually been able to do that final step. So they are basically one of the first projects that's been able to do that, and they're still testing it out. But it's very bullish if that is the final grail for Bitcoin L2s. So yeah, that's obviously the bullish news from the perspective of which I think is for the long-term growth of the networks. However, obviously, you guys, the reason that Cardano has been flying over the past 24 hours, one of the top gainers, which we'll get to, is the fact that Charles apparently could be advising.
Yeah. Now, this is an interesting one. Charles Hoskinson released a video, did a live stream on his YouTube channel, I think yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? Very, very recently. You can see it up there on his YouTube channel. I think it's like the second most recent live stream. And in it, he talked about working with the incoming Trump administration. I've got a quote from him here. He says, quote, "I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time working with lawmakers in Washington, D.C., quite a bit of time working with members of the administration," end quote, on crypto policy. Now, one of the things that we didn't discuss earlier, but that Trump also talked about in his Bitcoin Nashville speech, was the establishment of a sort of presidential advisory council for crypto. Now, there's been a bit of speculation that perhaps that means, that Charles is going to join this particular council. From what I can tell, That's not the case yet, at any rate. I haven't really seen talk of this council being established, only that Charles is going to be working with the administration in some way. So perhaps that could be something that we hear about in the coming weeks. Charles could very well be on this council, presumably with other people in the crypto ecosystem. I mean, I would imagine that it would make sense to have sort of a diversity of voices on there. So you'd probably have to get some Bitcoin maxis in.
There will be Bitcoin maxis. I know that there's quite a few that were discussing and negotiating with Trump prior, who are someone from a Bitcoin mining industry as well.
Okay,
but it doesn't, irrespective. I mean, it's not. I mean, some people were. I think it would be great to have in there. Like anyone, people view it as like like us versus them, like Cardano ecosystem versus Solana. It's not like that. I mean, I think he'll speak for the entire crypto industry, as he always has. I mean, you've seen he's been in front of the House before. He's been on testimony. So it's always good to have someone in the crypto industry, whoever it is, and if he is a transitional member or takes up any sort of advisory role, that would be great.
Yeah, we're all in this together, folks. The whole crypto industry is with us. So Charles Hoskinson, and he said he has been speaking with the transition team. So it looks like.
But we'll keep on top of the story, guys. And if you want to see, we'll obviously let you know on Twitter. If you're not following our Twitter, Coin Bureau @CoinBureau, go and join us there. We'll keep you all up to date with what's happening on the transition news and Cardano ADO news as well.
Yeah, boy, is there. I mean, I think now that the regulatory landscape has changed, and we can talk about this when we talk about some of the top gainers in just a moment, but I think there's just going to be so much happening now because those shackles have been removed, because, people don't have to, people are going to be less fearful in the United States and, by extension elsewhere. I think we're going to see so many announcements and developments like this. 2025 is going to be exhausting.
Golden age, it's like the industrial evolution for crypto.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
We're going to be, so we have Nick and I have a meeting sort of on Monday mornings. We're talking about it basically throughout the week, what we're going to discuss in these Monday live streams. And I'm not going to lie to you folks, a few of the weeks that we've done, it's sort of been like, well, there's not a huge amount to talk about today. That is all going to change. What
sunglasses can we wear on the next?
That is all going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, we are going to have to be, we're going to have to leave stuff out, or we're going to have to start doing more live streams. Or
we
longer
were considering
live
last week if we're going to do another live stream. It was like, should we? It's like, no, let's just first.
Yeah. Well, you guys have to let us know if you want more of this sort of content. If you want more live streams in the future, bear in mind there's only two of us. There's only so many hours in a day. But if that's the kind of content that you would like to see as we enter the parabolic, absolutely mental phase of the bull market, which ain't even begun properly yet.
Or do you want to see guests from from our other channels onto the main channel for trading analysis, for example? More than happy to bring them on at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah, we must get some of those traders on. So
the red velvet hoodie.
When Nick? When
you will see it. I do need to get a green one though.
You do. You really do.
I want to find one.
You really do.
I've been searching high and low for it.
So yeah, I can't wait. There's just going to be so much to talk about, and it's going to put these last 2 years, when there have been some difficult weeks, when you're just like, there ain't a huge amount happening. Suddenly, it's just going to be like, where do we even begin? I can't tell you how exciting that is. Anyhow, let's move on. So that's all the news things we wanted to talk about today, obviously dominated by the election. And like I say, I'm sure there's going to be more on that. So follow us on Twitter, keep abreast of these live streams and all our other channels, and we will keep you updated. Okay. It is time we're going to give you last week's top gainers, and as we talked about last week, a couple of projects to watch as well, which could have an interesting week ahead of them. Who knows? Anyway, last week's top gainers were, Nick, do you want to have a guess what the top gainer was?
Kronos
is Crypto.com's exchange token.
Yeah,
up over 100% in the week. This is wild.
So that's obviously, I think it's because of two things. Obviously, one is because, the spot volume itself has been crazy, over 100 billion in spot volume between July and September. So
it's more than that. So in July, Crypto.com's spot volume was 34 billion.
Yeah.
And in September, it was 134 billion.
Wow,
so they've added 100 billion of spot volume over the summer.
Over the summer.
Wild. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then also, of course, Crypto.com has been sued by it's potentially been sued on a Wells notice from the SEC.
That's right. Yeah.
And now, obviously, that Wells notice is probably going to get lost in the mail or discarded, put through the shredder. Who needs this anymore? So there we go. Light it on fire. You know,
yeah, and of course that's
pour some water on. One down for my homie.
Chris Marsalek, the CEO, just screwing it up and chucking it in the toilet.
Yeah.
And of course that's interesting, isn't it? Because of all the kind of exchanges that operate in the US, or the US is their largest market. Like Coinbase, Kraken, they don't have tokens. So Crypto.com is sort of obviously capitalizing on just Americans going absolutely bananas.
Do they still have the sponsorship for the LA stadium? Is it the Dodgers?
I'm not sure actually. I think so.
I think they do.
They've got a
5 year. They got that whole stadium. The one with the Lakers play, I think.
Okay.
Staples Center. I don't know. It used to be the
No,
Staples.
that was FTX, wasn't it?
No, that was the one in Miami. The Miami Heat one.
Okay.
That used to be the Miami Heat when the FTX were. But I think Crypto.com, if I recall, you guys can correct us in the comments. But I think that the stadium where the Lakers play, which used to be the Staples Stadium, Crypto.com. I think with the not stadium, but like basketball, whatever. So
Dr. Crypto says they have it for 20 years.
There we go.
The Dr. Crypto. Okay, so that's Crypto.com. And yeah, I think they surpassed even Coinbase in spot volume.
Wow.
Absolutely wild.
Wow.
Okay, next up we have Doge. Now, the best reason that I can think that Doge is one of the winners is basically the Trump trade.
The Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah,
exactly.
And this, I was thinking about this, and it's like, don't you think it's fascinating that, like, obviously Trump winning the election, but if you look at the Trump meme coins, if you look at like the two biggest, there's the Dolan Trump one, and then there's like MAGA, or whether it's either Trump and the ticker's MAGA or the other way around. But both of those are down bad.
Yeah,
like they're
yeah.
And it's so interesting, isn't it? Because I was thinking a few months ago, like when they, you had Dolan Trump, you had Geo Bowden and all this sort of stuff. Like that was a real sort of meta at the time, wasn't it? And I was kind of like, well, presumably this is going to just get crazy going into the election, and they just disappeared. And I think that says something about meme coins, first of all. But I mean, I kind of think, well, I guess the degens just discovered Polymarket, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where you can make a bet. And why would you go and take it? Why would you use a beta, like a Trump meme coin, as a beta play, where you are having the chance of being rugged, and all these other variables that impact on meme coins, and you have devs that are unknown, whereas you just go and take a very concerted bet on Polymarket, like some people have been very lucrative for them, right? There's no need to go and play this PvP meme coin game. And it's, now it seems like also the meme coin pivot seems to have gone now very quickly to the AI meme coin stuff. So, no longer the Polify.
Mind you, having said that, the third on our list of last week's top gainers is none other than
Nero. The only thing I can think of, guy, is potentially it's a beta play on Doge.
Okay, so Doge is a beta play on Trump, and Nero is a beta play on Doge.
Beta squared.
Beta squared.
Beta squared. You exponentiate in your beta trade on Nero.
I guess that makes sense. Well, because Nero is the name of the dog that Kabosu, the original Doge's owner, got.
So it's
Kabosu
derivative.
died.
Nero's a derivative of Doge, and you're doubling up your derivatives. We layer in risk on. We financial engineering the meme coin space.
If all this is going over your head, folks, maybe this isn't the industry for you. I don't know. Okay, next up we have none other than Cardano's ADA.
Well, yeah, if you're a Cardano holder, you must be incredibly happy. Well done.
Yeah. Welcome back to the top gainers, Ada. It sure has been a while. And I guess it's quite rare to have two top 10 cryptos in the top gainers in the same week, Doge and ADA.
Yeah, well,
that just shows you how mental this market has been over the last week or so.
Didn't the Doge, that guy, the Dogecoin millionaire, the guy from the 2021 cycle, he was in the news recently, or he was Twitter. I think he's on Twitter, and basically, he back in the previous cycle, he was a massive Dogecoin whale or something. I think he also I think it was a lot of ADA. Both of those portfolios, they were worth $1 million back in the previous cycle, and he just kept on holding it for since. Just kept on holding it, and now they're back in $1 million. Wow. That's a long-term hodler on ADA and Doge, and he's back in $1 million. So
that guy is going to be rocking some attitude at Thanksgiving, isn't he? Which is not far away, folks.
How about that? You earned it.
Okay, and last on our list of last week's top gainers. I mean, it was difficult to choose. It was difficult to pick these out, I should say, because there were so many. But the other big one was ENA. Athena's ENA coin. Now, I think this was probably as a result of just kind of hype around DeFi. Obviously, DeFi is looking like one of the perhaps big winners of this cycle because the new president is a degen founder. But there was also this recent proposal tabled by Wintermute, the big market maker, for ENA holders to receive a proportion of protocol fees.
Yeah, exactly. So for ENA stakers, the SENA, they'll earn a percentage of the protocol fees, right? So that's bullish because that's price positive for the token over the increased yield, right?
Yeah.
And also if you I mean, I think that ENA, we've obviously done a video, a deep dive video on Athena. It's quite incomprehensive because it is quite a complicated protocol, at least from the perspective of understanding the delta neutral aspect of it and the tokenized cash and carry token aspect of it. But I think in terms of so far, we've talked about it before. I think Athena has, been put through its trial by fire, and it's maintaining that peg all through financial engineering, right? And distributing it across different exchanges, MPC technology, all this. So yeah, ENA obviously, and I think this particular rally was because ENA itself was previously just seen, it's a governance token, right?
Yeah.
So, and governance tokens are usually the things that most of these protocols will issue, and then people think, okay, well, is there really a use case? Do people really feel they want to buy the token? Because I would love to vote on a governance proposal. It's like no one thinks, but I can't wait to go and vote on proposal 536 of, So given some sort of a price positive price pressure in terms of like this kind of protocol fee going to the ENA holders could be positive.
I mean, there's a financial incentive. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. People want a return.
And also, if funding rates start picking up, which they will, like we pointed to the funding rates previously, Athena goes and USD earns the yield from the funding rates, right? If they start flying again, like they did in March, we're talking like APYs of 100% on some of these funding rates, especially on some of these other coins. So keep a watch on that.
Okay, so those are last week's top gainers. Now, in terms of ones to watch, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to say just keep an eye on everything, this sort of market. But a few things to watch. Now, keep a very close eye on basically projects in Ethereum's ecosystem. Because not only do we now have what's going to be a more favorable regulatory environment, but starting in just, I think tomorrow is DevCon in Thailand. And I think there's a very good chance that obviously with this sort of brighter future that crypto now has, we could see a lot of announcements.
There's going to be a lot of announcements. And then specifically look at those that are focused on the DeFi space, right? Yeah. Because DeFi has also had a resurgence, as you mentioned, ENA and all these others, because now potentially regulations could be positive for them because Uniswap all these DeFi protocols have been hit. Uniswap, Mutable, all of these were getting these Wells notices, whereas now it could potentially be reignited. And in some of these, they could use the DevCon. Well, they usually do that, right? They usually use these conferences as places to announce these big releases and things like that. So keep an eye on that. Most projects in the Ethereum ecosystems, more specifically related to DeFi. Yeah,
and when we're in bull markets, as let's face it, we're in now, these kind of conference announcements do tend to have a big impact on price and excitement. In bear markets, no one gives a monkeys, but how things have changed in less than a week. So keep an eye on projects in Ethereum's ecosystem, DeFi projects especially. And I think we should give a shout out to ETH as well, shouldn't we? I mean, ETH, obviously lots of other things have pumped a lot, but ETH got above 3K.
Got above 3K.
It's holding it.
And there was also a pension fund, I think the Michigan pension fund bought some ETF fair shares, So
right off ETH at your peril. And I was pleased to see that our video about Pectra, the Pectra upgrade for Ethereum, got some healthy views.
Healthy views, yeah.
There we are.
And it's growing and it keeps on growing. So
So you can check that out. That is here on the main channel. That tells you everything you need to know about what lies ahead in the next few months for Ethereum and this upcoming Pectra upgrade. In fact, we even talk about the next one, which is Fusaka. Fusaka. You got to. It's hard to keep up sometimes, isn't it? Okay. And another thing, another project to keep an eye on this week is something that we at Coin Bureau here invested in. Full disclosure: this is Peak. PEAQ. Now, Peak is a deep-in focused layer one. These guys have been building for a long time. And we chatted with the team a while back. I was really impressed with them, their vision, what they were building. There's been a lot of hype around this. Now, I kind of think the actual launch of the Peak token, the Peak coin, could be a bit frothy.
It's always frothy, especially. But I don't think buying a token or looking at the token, we just wanted to more talk about the fact that this is really interesting. And especially in the perspective of Deepin, right? The fact they're building this layer 1 for Deepin, and Deepin as a narrative is a very exciting narrative. It's one of our top narratives to focus on. And they were at Singapore Token 2049, and they've had a Tesla as their booth. So it's pretty cool.
Bullish. If you can get a car in your booth, that's generally a good sign.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. I think their launch is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for Peak. All right.
Try and speak to the team at some point.
I think we're going to set up an interview. Really nice guys. Okay, Diary. What have we got coming up this week? I mean, nothing can match the week we just had.
The week we just had was so eventful that no one actually noticed that Jerome Powell. It's like, who's this old grey man? I don't care. I'm just speaking. I'm looking at the election.
Yeah, of course,
who's
we had a rate cut.
It's like, who's this old man talking about basis points? I don't care. I don't care. I care about Trump winning. But so Wednesday. Okay, so in terms of economics data, Wednesday we've got the CPI print. So that's obviously important. I think previous CPI print was 2.4%. The consensus this time is 2.6%, so slightly up. Although it has been trending lower in general. I think watch the CPI, watch where it is in relation to the consensus, because obviously markets react to what the actual print is based on what they're expecting. And then, of course, on Friday, it's a data point, economic data point, not necessarily as related to the Fed's mandate when it comes to employment, but on a growth perspective. U.S. retail sales data is coming out, so 0.4% was the previous, and the consensus 0.3%. So if they're strong, it's less chance of a rate cut, and if it's weak, more chance of a rate cut. But it's also really interesting to see how people are reacting, from based on whether they're going to be buying more because of the election.
Yeah, are they going on a sort of post-Trump binge?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I can only assume beer sales in the US have rocketed.
They would have rocketed, or potentially electronics made in China before the tariffs come in.
just scooping up as many Chinese
before those tariffs come in. But that's another important data point to put on your calendar. The retail sales,
US retail sales,
and then we also got some unlocks coming up.
We've
got unlocks, not massive unlocks, but it's worth keeping an eye on these. So one of them is Starknet, and they've got about 2.3% of the circulating supply coming out. So that's 64 million tokens. In terms of where it's been allocated, it's important. I think about 1.4% of that is going to investors, and then 1.6% is going to early contributors. Whether the investors will sell out right now, I don't know. It depends on their perspective of how bullish they are on the layer 2 ecosystem. I don't know. We'll get to that. I don't know about layer 2s in general, Starknet. So that's one unlock, and then the other one is Arbitrum, which I think you hold some of, right?
Still hold
another
some
layer 2
for my sins.
Another layer 2. They've got about 2.3% of the circulating supply being unlocked in 5 days, and more of it's going to the future team and advisors.
Okay.
So basically, future team meaning probably people they're going to hire to allocate some tokens to them, and in their employment package. And then investors about 0.9% of the circulating supply. So neither of these are particularly massive unlocks, to be honest. But I think it's still worth putting in your calendar if you keep an eye on it.
Always good to focus on that. Keep an eye on that. I saw Aptos had a big unlock today.
It was about 3% or so, like 2 to 3%. I mean, also,
I'm just looking at that. I'm just looking at the chart here, and it seems to have just swallowed it and moved on.
No, because I think these unlocks, and this is something we've talked about ad nauseum in numerous different videos, and I had an interview with a guy of the website, Tokenomist himself, and we talked about this. And it's not just the factor of, because you have an increase in supply coming on, but it's also demand factor, right? If there's a lot of demand for the token, it just melts through the supply. And also that's the question, if it's just because it's an unlock doesn't mean the people who get in the unlocked token are going to sell. And one of the best examples here is to be fair, the market conditions the last week have been like super bullish. But like 2 weeks ago, we had that Celestia unlock, 100% circulating supply.
Yeah.
And price seems to have managed to hold on. Obviously, we'll have to see how it plays out for the next few months, because there's people who there's an unstaking queue for people who are staking their tier, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see over the next 3 to 4 to 5 months how such a big unlock could have had an impact. But remember also, Solana had a massive unlock in 21. Didn't matter, went up to all-time highs. So
look at all the SUI unlocks we've had recently.
Exactly. And it's not
at all-time highs.
It's all got to balance it with supply and demand and whether they're likely to sell. And so don't just take it all.
Yeah.
Don't FUD the unlocks.
Don't FUD the unlocks. Okay, all right. It is time to look at, before we get your feedback, before we look at some of the comments that you've been leaving for us, let's have a look at tweets of the week.
Almost my favorite. Always my most favorite.
Is this your best part?
This is the best part.
Okay, I'm glad. This is Nick's favorite part, everyone. So let's enjoy it with him.
Well,
as you like it so much, Nick, do you want to do the first one?
Pentoshi. So one thing I will say in the next couple of months is, if you make life-changing money, take it out, change your life. This is the number one regret of people. If you try to squeeze every last dollar out and keep it on the table, eventually it will be given back and someone else will take it from you. I think we have good times ahead, but nothing is real until you secure it. No one ever went broke taking a profit, guys.
Based.
And that's it, man.
Based.
Yeah.
Guys, there is, it doesn't count if you don't realize those gains. If
100%.
those gains stay unrealized, if you don't take profits, if you don't take money off the table,
it's all imaginary. It's all imaginary into money until you've realized it and actually got it.
Yeah. It ain't gonna pay no bills. So,
screenshots don't pay bills, guys. Those MetaMask and Phantom screenshots, they do not pay bills.
Can I make an NFT of my screenshot?
You want to buy my screenshot? I promise you, it will recover those all-time highs in the next bull cycle. You're gonna pay for it.
Yeah. Okay, so good advice from Pentoshi there, as always. Next up, we have this one from Horse, the Flow Horse. This is another good bit of advice for anyone feeling left behind, seeing people on the timeline celebrating. Make a plan and play your own game. Don't go chasing returns by adding a ton of leverage. Based again. Remember, you only need to die once in Russian roulette. What a great
saying.
What a great line. Yeah.
Unless you don't do it properly.
Yeah. You've got to, if you forget to load anyone. If you're cleaned out, you can't play anymore. Yeah. Look, guys, have a plan, stick to it. Don't chase pumps, especially don't chase pumps with leverage.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to get very frothy. And like right now, there's a lot of euphoria, but remember, it chops up and down, right?
Yeah.
And you can have cascade and liquidations down as well, short squeezes. So just be very careful with directional trades right now, especially with high leverage. If you are going to be, risk managers is essential, stop loss is essential. And if you need advice if you need tips on how to trade, well, I think there's a trading channel that you can follow.
I believe so. Yeah, is it called Coin Bureau Trading?
Oh, that's the name. Yes.
I think. Am I right in thinking that if people scan the QR code just above you, that will take them there?
I think that will. Yeah. And did you know what? Actually, they just broke 32,000 subscribers.
How about that? Congratulations, guys. Okay. Yes. So, don't worry, guys. We will be banging this drum throughout this bull market. We will be reminding you of the importance of taking profits, of risk management, of having a plan and sticking to it. We will be helping you to not F this up. But at the end of the day, only you can do that. So, just be careful out there. Enjoy it, but take care. All right. Next tweet of the week. This is from Alex Fanovic.
Yeah. Going to set up our Nansen, USA office in 2025. LFG, America. Yeah. So it's interesting because Alex Fanovic, if you guys haven't been following, I think about 3 weeks ago, he went to Twitter. He was quite despondent because in Singapore, they denied his permanent residency application, which is unfortunate. I think he's been applying for quite some time. He was very frustrated. And he was a big Singapore bull, right? And because Singapore, in terms of like it's a great, in terms of regulations, crypto regulations, more friendly than many other places. It's kind of like a Dubai in that sense, and it's also very safe, clean, all that kind of stuff. Singapore is a great place, but yeah, if you're struggling all the time to get permanent residency, that's frustrating, right? If you want to make it your home, it's difficult, and it is a difficult place to get permanent residency and passport specifically. You literally have to apply regularly. And sometimes they just choose how many times you apply as some sort of a measure of, is he, how many times can they apply? How persistent are they? Okay, maybe we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was speaking to him about this 2 weeks ago as a Binance Blockchain Week. But yeah, if maybe that could be the next step. I was trying to get him to come to Dubai. But if the USA, if most of the crypto, it'd be interesting to see also what this election and the pro-crypto regulations could mean for many of these crypto businesses that have set up entities offshore or located offshore. Would they be incentivized to go back to the US?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they get better regulations and if Trump follows, because he's been talking a lot about tax cuts, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, could the US be next?
Coin Bureau Miami HQ afterwards.
Finally, you'll be able to wear your casual outfit,
shorts.
wear your shorts
I
without
feel right at
without
home.
judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that's the big news from Coin Bureau. Nic is now heading off to head up our Miami office.
Here we go, man.
I will stay and hold the fort here in Dubai. Okay, next tweet of the week. Oh, it's one from Gwart.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Now, the only prediction I have for tomorrow is that someone probably announced a new Ethereum layer 2.
You know what's funny about that, actually? Because today, Ethereum name service is ENS. They just launched an layer 2.
Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
Gwart was, I guess he was right, really. Maybe he was a few days off. But so this was obviously on the eve of the election. There's always another Ethereum layer 2 around the corner.
We need more of those. Layer 2 here, layer 2 there. You get a layer 2.
You get a layer 2. You get a layer 2. All right. And finally, last tweet of the week is from, this is a stone cold classic. Now, imagine if they pardon Ross and he just does it again.
Listen to me. Silk Road with a token. Silk token.
Ross, I can see it now. Las Vegas 2025 Bitcoin conference, Ross Ulbricht keynote.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got an idea.
I got an idea. Here we go. I'm announcing the new revolutionary Silk token. It's going to have the most utility of any darknet marketplace out there. It's going to have embedded privacy, so you won't get caught like I did.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah. Well, look. Do you know what? Would you bet against it? The way this industry is,
bro,
would you bet against that?
I would. Nothing in crypto is impossible. I've learned nothing in crypto is impossible. We just got a president who basically went to a Bitcoin conference. He said he wished Bitcoin his happy birthday. He went into a Bitcoin cafe, paid with Bitcoin. He was on a Bitcoin podcast. His family launched a DeFi token. Don't tell me anything's impossible in crypto.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Sometimes I think I've just been hallucinating. I've been tripping on something for the past few months, and this is all just a hallucination. Absolutely wild. Okay, all right. That is almost it for today's news live stream. Let's just finish off with a little bit of your all important feedback. The open mouths are back. That means bull market. Oh yeah, this is on the thumbnail, right?
We had a fun time last week with our fun thumbnail shoot.
That was good.
We did post a short about it. It was fun, man. Yeah.
You
got to get into the emotion about it, guys.
Yeah. They're making these thumbnails. There's a lot of artistry towards this, I tell you.
Yeah.
Armin Salimi mentioned this is a very good point. We're in a trending bull market, and I'm still disappointed by the fact that Polymarket haven't created the parley regarding jeans and shorts for Nic. There would be so much riding on.
I bet you the French whale has probably put a commission in the study to see how many times I wear shorts or long pants into the office.
So is he going to ask? He's not going to ask you.
He's
going to ask me. What do you think Nic is going to wear tomorrow?
Or he's going to ask someone in the office, like, what do you think Nic is going to wear?
Yeah. Okay, someone was asking what happened to the SNEC Energy can. You guys are eagle-eyed. We had a can of SNEC Energy in the back a while back. I think someone drank it.
I think that was it. You?
No, it wasn't me. I've tried SNEC Energy. I tell you what, it takes you to a place I wasn't ready to go to.
Haven't we still got a whole box of SNEC Energy?
Yeah, we got. If anyone wants some cans of SNEC Energy, we have got a lot of it. Okay, it is. Like I say, it lifts you up, to put it mildly. Okay, great job, Thor, on Green Lantern.
Oh, the Green Lantern. Oh man.
So this goes back, I think, to when I flagged this when we were talking about, would Trump pardon Ross Ulbricht on his first day? Very grateful. Does make a good point. He's got a lot on his plate for that.
Oh man, yeah, that is true. He's got a lot of things to do on first day.
He's going to be signing a lot of things.
Signing lots of things.
I mean, I guess he's already this is I think I was reading something about this a while ago. I think it was the last time, this transition process. Like this is, they have these transition teams. There's a whole load of protocol and stuff to go through. This is and this is why I think part of the reason why there's this long gap between the winner of the election being announced and the new president actually taking office. There's so much to sort out.
There's so much, yeah.
Interesting fact. Apparently, when George W. Bush won for the first time in 2000, members of the outgoing Clinton team prized off the letter W
I
from
believe so.
every keyboard in the building, every keyboard in the White House. That shows how old I am, doesn't it?
Wow.
Okay. At Home with Drew asks, what's all this about ICP? Is Insane Clown Posse making a return?
Shots fired. Shots fired. Wow.
Yeah, Insane Clown Posse have their own chain. Yep. Very good. Very good at Home with Drew. Wayne Davis is asking, Wayne from North Korea. How's life in North Korea, Wayne? Nick's hair is still looking great. Are you using L'Oreal?
No, not L'Oreal. I'm using another product.
Oh, he's not going to say
I can't reveal the alpha here, guys. You know, that's special alpha.
You have to join Coin Bureau Club for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick shares all his hair care tips.
Break it down step by step, but the process of it's more comprehensive than the process of studying our altcoin reviews. You know, it's like hair care routine.
Man, I tell you, you think we go deep on altcoins? Nick's hair care routine that goes to the next level. Did I just see what I think I said?
You gotta flex it, man. You gotta flex it, bro. It's hard work.
Indie Odyssey says, great live show, just stumbled in. I think some people may have been confused by the time change. That's not our fault. That's your fault, USA, for changing.
Yeah. What's about this daylight? What's his point?
So we'll be going live from 8 a.m. I did get that wrong in the announcement video earlier today. 8 a.m. Eastern time is when we will be doing these from in future. So please
until March next year.
Until March when they mess with the clocks again. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you just get up an hour earlier. Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
This was interesting. Rational Case says, if US politicians had failed to act quickly on Louisiana Purchase, Mexico/Spain would now own the entire American West.
Wow. That's true.
How different the world could be. Dr. Crypto says, thanks guys for the great content. Oz Cryptocurrency believes you must be related to Chris Hemsworth. Sure. Oh no, he means me. No, I'm not. No. At least I don't.
That's why you got such a good Aussie accent, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, me and Chris, my cousin Chris. Nick, there's an offer on the table for you. 1 ETH if you shave your head.
No freaking way, man.
No?
No. What?
Okay. All right. Do
you know how long it took me to grow my hair? Like this,
I have to know. How many ETH would it take for you to shave your head?
I don't know. If it's It's so much it's my identity. You asked me to remove my identity and become bald.
As Pablo Escobar says, everyone has their price.
Everyone has their price.
Everyone has their price. What is your price? Tell me, how many ETH do you want to shave your head?
I need to ponder this one. I need to run the numbers in terms of, I need to run the EV calcs on my person. How I would deal with being bald.
Okay.
No offense to guys who are bald. I'm sure you've bolted into your personality in other ways, but yeah.
All right. Folks, we could do a whip round. Once Nick names his price, we could do a whip round. We could maybe even get him to do it.
Maybe this is a question you should ask in the bear market when my pricing power is much lower. Okay.
I'll do it for half.
I'll do it on camera, everyone. Just give me some. Shave it on camera.
I'll do it for 3 ADA. Just something. Okay. Guy, when will you imitate Mr. Bean again? If you ask people around the office, they say I never stop.
That's true.
But I have been told I have something of the Mr. Bean about me. Hey, that's all part of the appeal, right? And Shinny Moon Shretza says, Guy and Nic looking awesome, bro. Exciting times indeed.
Is that Shinny Moon or Shine Moon?
Shine Moon. Shine Moon. I just read that back. Well, maybe it's Shinny Moon.
Shinny Moon. Well,
okay. Let us know.
Interesting.
So that is, I think that's about it for this week, right?
That's about it, man. Yeah.
What a week it has been.
It's been an amazing week. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, guys, and make sure you're going to make the most of the lifetime of this opportunity.
Yeah. SB says, can I please has snack? Yeah, you can take the snack. You just need to come here to the Dubai office and pick it up.
A whole box to you.
We'll give you the whole box. Ask him the right question for how many XRP he's going to shave his head.
No, bro. What am I going to do with that?
They're going to have to start. Ripple are going to have to sell a few more.
Ripple would have to actually start giving the entire treasury.
You heard it here first, folks. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to the trading channel as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. And yeah, well done for sticking at it through tough times.
Yeah, man, we made it through. Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like we've turned a corner. the crypto industry, I should say. The crypto industry has turned a corner in the last week. Obviously, you don't need to be a genius to figure out why.
And I think it's great also that it's the entire ecosystem, and there's no longer this us versus them kind of like ecosystems going into each other's necks. It's all like we're all celebrating all at once. Everyone, even if people who are diehard ADA, like diehard against Cardano, like they're celebrating with them as well. So
absolutely, it's great to see. Let's celebrate success together, folks. Whatever community you may belong to, whatever your favorite chain, whatever your favorite crypto may be, this was a win for everyone. And we should really celebrate that. And let's hope that this development, things just carry on getting better. I think 2025, like I say, it's going to be absolutely crazy.
The year of the golden bull run. The year of the golden bull.
There they are.
There you go.
Golden bulls. So we will be back at the same time next week. Remember, that's 8 a.m. Eastern time if you're on Eastern time. In the meantime, lots more content coming your way. And we got over 3,000 views for this. We got about 3,500, I think, for this stream. So keep coming back. Tell your friends, and we will see you next week.
Cheers, guys. Wag me.
Thanks, Teamy Channel is awesome. So funny how you taking the piff. Pirates has a nice way to it. Taking the piff to the effing move. Do it. Let's go. W stream to the effing move. Do it. Let's go. W stream. There should be more cricket discussion. Clearly, a billion Indians cannot be wrong. It gives a living GTA Vice City cover. To the effing move, do it, let's go, W stream. To the effing move, do it, let's go, W stream.